Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Mosby of The Survivor and the Skeptic, and this is my co-host, Erica Bailey with We Are Iconic. So
I hear
we're
applause everywhere. Applause.
applause. Yes, yes. I'm
Hi,
applauding for
everybody.
you.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just in my own head, you know. Well, it's another, what day is it? Monday? It's another Monday. Happy to be
It's
here.
Martin Luther
Oh,
King
yeah, it
Day.
is, isn't it? I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
My kids are home for a reason.
Yep. No better day to have a podcast about being a survivor, you know?
I guess that's truth right there. That's truth
Yeah.
at its core. So, what a good day to be here. Now I've got the
Yep.
"It's a great day to be alive" song in my head. Great. Great. Anyway, well, we're excited to be back. What are we going to be talking about today? Oh, boo. Sorry. My I got us in the background here. Isn't that funny? Okay. So what are we talking about today, Miss Kimberly? What's been new with you in the past week? We're waiting for some people.
Not much, it's just the same old, you know, cleaning,
Same
taking
old.
care of the cats. I went to the beach yesterday, which was nice.
Good for you.
Yeah, did some
You
grounding,
connect. There we go.
connect, connect with Mother Earth, while we're
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yes. Why we are here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I we had a big event for one of my clients, and it was the highest selling event or highest selling day in their history. So that was a really good thing. That's really it. I just
Excellent.
worked and folded laundry and, did the whole mompreneur thing.
Yeah. I did laundry too. You got to keep on your house chores because nobody's going to do them for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I wish. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
It would be
I
nice
wish.
yeah.
If I could have a full-time peep to do my laundry for me and clean my house, yeah,
Yeah.
that's when you know you're living. Oh my gosh. All right, so what are we talking about today?
So we're talking about directed energy weapons and radio frequencies, basically, and pulse lasers. Has anybody seen the last Aquaman?
I know I have. Yes, I have. And there was actually something I was watching last night about this. It's a show about a guy who goes back in time to try and save Kennedy, I think. No, wait a minute. That was a different show. They were talking about a direct energy weapon to, like, take over a political regime. It was part of the show. I'm like, that sounds like a Kimberly thing. And
Yep.
then here we are talking about this. So I find that kind of, I don't totally believe in coincidences. So
Yep.
somebody's saying something. Hey,
Yep.
Buster.
You should watch Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom because it shows that pulse weapon.
Doesn't it like stop the people or stop the like, yeah. And is this kind of what we talked about last week almost in the beginning where you were showing me like the
Yes.
weapon that you said made him feel all like that email you got or that not the email you got, you should have video. Is that the same type of technology?
Yeah, because it's all
Okay.
interconnected and they're using it on like people. So, but every time you look at the movies, they're telling you exactly what they're doing with these frequency weapons.
All right. Well, let's figure out what we're doing with this wonderful frequency weapon. Yay.
All right.
So exciting. Who's excited? Are you excited, Gutbuster? I'm so excited. God, I love what we do.
Yeah, me too. So 1-10 Half Moon Trump struck Syria. Watch out. I hear the tip of DOA is suing people. Interesting. For what? Telling the truth? Govbuster? Probably. You know?
I wouldn't
Us.
doubt it.
Yeah, right? I'm going to
Half
share
moon.
this really quick.
Man,
We're going to
I'm going to dig into that too.
Look at this one from Anna Toledo. It says the DEW's in plain sight. The House Committee on Homeland Security yesterday sent a letter to the Department of Homeland Security inquiring about the mysterious handheld weapon that the Mockingbird press has been heralding as the possible cause of Havana syndrome in more than 300 federal employees. They have brought the "it's Russia" narrative into it, which they always try to blame someone else. Even though the intelligence community has discarded that any foreign power is responsible for Havana syndrome incident in America, while the committee waits for Miss Krusty Gnome's reply, they should tackle the actual threat to our national that pervasive directed energy weapons in plain sight represent. What congressional members do not realize is that our military and CIA operate thousands of weapons located in almost every corner of our nation. It's weaponized cellular panel antennas, aka Gwyn towers, and you can see them on this building. She said, during one of my recent visits to Senate, I parked in Union Station. From the top floor of the parking area, I observed a weaponized cell tower array located atop the building, located at 700 2nd Street Northwest in Washington, D.C., in plain sight. And then she gives you that. So if you want to read that, you can go on Substack. But yeah, interesting, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, so they're all over.
I'm intrigued.
The next video I got from another TI on my Substack that I follow that gets hit with V2K, and they actually basically electrocute her to an extent where her mouth moves without her doing it. It's like a little, like a twitch, like a spasm. And she's like, this is not me doing this. This is their weapons that are doing this to me. But this speech was from 2019, and it's about 19 minutes long. But it's very interesting that this happened 6 years ago. So let's watch it.
Okay. I mean, yes.
Okay, I gotta mute myself.
Big. Yeah, and make it big.
And make it big. Okay, so sorry, here, let's go like that. There, better? Okay.
Did you press play? I'm not hearing it. There we go.
All citizens deserve equal protection under the law. This is one of our most basic values. It's an essential tenet of any healthy democracy. We know that protection under the law is often not doled out equally across neighborhoods and ethnicities. But almost all of us can agree that equal protection under the law should be applied to everyone equally. You all deserve a fair shot at living your lives peacefully, safely, and free of crime. Yet, victims of covert harassment crimes don't just get unequal protection under the law, they get absolutely no protection under the law. You just heard about covert harassment crimes from Bill 3. You can read more about the two modes of crimes that make up covert harassment in our flyer, which we've been passing out today. I don't want to get into the weeds about exactly what's involved in these modern crimes. The intimidating watching and voyeurism involved in organized stalking, the multi-stalker stalking, the cell phone apps and cell phone hacking that offenders use to track and silently mob their victims in public, the harassing behavior from groups of offenders who clearly act as coordinated teams of stalkers, the vandalism, and even the repeated home break-ins that some victims of organized stalking experience over and over again. I don't want to linger on all the details of electronic harassment, the repeated molestation with improvised microwave weapons, the assault and battery with black market directed energy devices, some of them very sophisticated and powerful, which are capable of causing high-pitched ringing in the ears, tremendous pains, and even permanent damage to the ears and brain, among other injuries. I could stand here for days telling you about how covert harassment has tortured so many people, destroyed so many lives, been a mode of cruelty to animals, and terrorized and grievously harmed innocent children, disabled persons, veterans.
Who is this guy?
People in the prime of their lives, and so many others. Instead of those details, I am compelled to share a few.
You're on mute. Sorry.
That's okay. His name is Dr. Matt. I don't remember his last name. I'll have to find out after, but this is...
Where is this being held? Do you know where it's being recorded at or where he's doing this?
Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And this was 6 years ago in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Downtown. Let's see if I can get it to come up here and play again. All right, here we go.
Key points. One point is how hard it is for non-victims to believe that these crimes are happening or are even possible. Keep in mind that by their very nature, covert harassment crimes are intentionally designed to be undetectable by bystanders, practically undetectable, while being painfully destructive to the targeted victims. For all our safety, the general public needs to be aware that many thousands of people all over the world are speaking out about being victimized by organized stalking and electronic harassment. Small rallies happened in a number of cities around the world exactly 1 year ago today, on the first annual Global Targeted Individual Awareness Day. A larger set of rallies happened just 4 months ago, and today is the second annual Global Targeted Individual Awareness Day. Protests just like this one are happening in Austin, Chicago, Cleveland, Denver, Lexington, Kentucky, New York City, Orlando, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Pueblo, Colorado, Sacramento, St. Paul, Minnesota, Spartanburg, South Carolina, and Venice Beach, California. On this second annual Targeted Individual Awareness Day, protests with a message just like ours are happening in Australia, France, India, Italy, Japan, Kenya, Ngong, Kenya, outside of Nairobi, Morocco, New Zealand, Poland, Russia, Spain, South Korea, Thailand, the United Kingdom, and Vietnam. Soon it's going to become uncomfortably obvious to the general public that a growing number of people are speaking out about how they've been victimized by organized stalking and electronic harassment. The growing number of voices should be a strong wake-up call that there's a genuine criminal issue underlying our allegations. If this isn't convincing enough, published U.S. Department of Justice statistics, UK Home Office statistics, and Canadian government statistics all show the same thing. 1 in 8 stalking victims in those countries allege being stalked by more than one offender simultaneously. There are also, as Ella said, the well-publicized cases of organized stalking in mainstream media reports. She mentioned Harvey Weinstein, who hired Black Cube, a private investigative firm, to harass his sexual assault victims and reporters by proxy. That means he had other people do it for him. He paid them in an attempt to silence them about his crimes. The Church of Scientology is notorious for using sophisticated stalking and harassment campaigns to silence its victims. While the details of anyone's victimization by covert harassment can seem murky and unsubstantiated, without the evidence collecting work of law enforcement, that is, the big picture makes it abundantly clear that there's a genuine criminal issue going on. However, when victims attempt to report covert harassment crimes to law enforcement, they're ignored. Sometimes they're mocked by the peace officers who are sworn to serve and protect. Any peace officers out here listening, I hope you can listen well, because we need you to start tackling these crimes. Sometimes police tell the victims, it's above our pay grade. Go talk to the FBI. When victims go to the FBI, they're told that city police are the appropriate first-line responders for local crimes, which they are. Then, when victims go back to local police, they run the risk of being detained on psychiatric holds, simply for alleging harassment and abuse at the hands of a criminal harassment network. It's a complete runaround that makes the vast majority of victims too afraid to speak out. This is what's called institutional betrayal. And this form of institutional betrayal by those sworn to serve and protect has given the public the false impression that covert harassment is a non-issue. This disturbing situation is reminiscent of the way that victims of child sexual abuse and on-campus sexual assault used to be treated. And now we all accept that child sexual abuse and sexual violence against women are widespread crimes. And just like we don't want those disgusting crimes in our community, we also don't want multi-stalker stalking by criminal harassment networks destroying lives and threatening public safety in our communities. It's even easier for people to dismiss the possibility of assaults with directed energy devices and microwave weapons. And we do understand that because we remember the time from when before we were targeted. But if you drill down into this issue, into this topic, you'll see that it's a genuine criminal issue that authorities refuse to address because they're too ill-informed, ill-prepared, or afraid to take on this 21st century crime. The disturbing energy weapon assaults on dozens of U.S. diplomats and some of their family members in Cuba and China are well documented in the mainstream media. At this point, there's no covering them up or denying that some type of high-tech assault took place. If you read the reports of the medical doctors who treated those individuals, you'll see those individuals experienced acute physical pain, emotional trauma, and lasting physical injuries as a result of the high-tech assaults. The scientists and medical doctors with the greatest expertise in this area will tell you that most likely directional energy emitting devices, radio frequency devices, and microwave directed energy weapons were used in those assaults in Cuba and China. And in our fast-paced global world, it makes no sense at all that that should be limited to Cuba and China. According to publicly available lectures from the real experts in this area, there are COTS devices, commercial off-the-shelf devices. Let me say that again, commercial off-the-shelf devices that can produce exposures approaching those required to inflict the injuries diagnosed in the assaulted diplomats. With a little know-how and tinkering, those commercial off-the-shelf devices can be amped up and modified to increase their power level and beam focusing capabilities of these improvised directed energy weapons. Now, I'm sure many of you know that the military, the U.S. military, has been developing so-called less lethal anti-personnel electromagnetic weapons for many years, for decades, in fact. It's more than reasonable to assume that there's already a black market for miniaturized versions of these weapons, of these energy weapons, available for purchase on the darknet. The widespread nature of this problem becomes abundantly clear when you realize that thousands of victims had already alleged energy weapon assaults long before the diplomats were assaulted in Cuba and China. And the victims who previously reported those attacks and spoke out about them described effects just like the ones reported by the diplomats. The reason you don't know about all these previously reporting crimes and victims is that law enforcement slammed the door on their allegations, foregoing many opportunities and law enforcement's obligation to get ahead of these crimes and keep our communities safe. Let's think about motive. People in the general public who hear talk of covert harassment often get stuck trying to understand motive. They say, sure, there might have been geopolitical motives for representatives of our government to be attacked in Cuba and China, but why would ordinary people like you be subjected to high-tech harassment and assaults? It's important to understand that what's going on with these crimes is not one single giant criminal conspiracy. Instead, there are a large number of independent organized crime groups that have adopted similar playbooks for covert harassment, that have independently acquired the manuals for building improvised directed energy weapons, or have independently purchased these weapons from an underground black market. Because many different harassment networks are perpetrating these crimes, the motives vary a lot from case to case. But if you take some time to actually listen to the reporting victims, you'll hear allegations pointing to motives that do make a lot of sense. Sometimes it looks like harassment for hire is used for vendettas or revenge. Other times, multi-stalker stalking emerges from the more traditional single stalker stalking by wealthy individuals with sexual motives. We also hear from victims who experience brutal electronic harassment on a daily basis as a way of evicting them from rent-controlled properties, so the landlords can jack up the rent and make more money. Some individuals, like myself, witness criminal activity and say they're going to report it. Covert harassment is then used to coerce those individuals into silence or run them out of town. Admittedly, a large proportion of individuals don't know their assailants and are totally perplexed about the reason for their targeting. In these cases, it looks like people are being randomly targeted for some kind of sick game or sadistic sport. And if you find that hard to believe, I suggest you pay attention to the news, because not a week will go by before you see that our world is full of sick crimes and motives that don't make any sense. Plus, it's not the job of the reporting victims to determine motive and put together a complete dossier for the district attorney. That's what we pay law enforcement to do. Even though the motives behind organized stalking and electronic harassment can be difficult to understand, there's a core motive that's common to all cases of covert harassment. The criminals perpetrate these crimes because they know they can get away with it without any interference from law enforcement. The opportunity for perpetrators to act with complete impunity is the unifying motive behind all covert harassment crimes. And that is 100% the fault of law enforcement, because they're not doing their job when it comes to this issue. And that includes the police force right here in Portland, Oregon. Now, this is important. I want you guys to consider this carefully. Inaction by law enforcement is not just allowing a trivial form of harassment to infest our communities. Stalking by individuals or groups of individuals is a crime in every state. Highly organized stalking against a singled out individual is a very serious crime. In many ways, it's as serious as the crimes for which federal statutes were erected to counteract the Ku Klux Klan's terrorizing activities. Directed energy weapons take it to the next level because physical pain is violence. To inflict extreme physical pain on someone by means of a focused energy-emitting device is a violent crime, even when it doesn't leave visible signs of injury. To repeatedly inflict pain on someone this way, day after day, night after night, counts as torture. Bona fide torture with a capital T. Physical assaults capable of causing permanent damage to people's ears, organs of balance, and brain tissue count as violent assault and battery, even when these assaults are done from a distance or through people's walls by means of focused wall-penetrating microwave energy. Now, that's the kind of crime that police are allowing to grow in our communities through their nonchalance and dereliction of duty. They act like they forget that all tax-paying citizens deserve equal protection under the law. Even if the crimes in question are new on the scene and challenge traditional methods of law enforcement. Offenders firing improvised microwave weapons at people in our communities are acting like terrorists, and they should be treated like domestic terrorists. Covert harassment is real. It's here in Portland. It's in Salem, Eugene, and Bend, Oregon. It's in Vancouver, Washington, Seattle, and Spokane. It's in Vancouver, Canada. We hear reports from Victoria, Canada, Kelowna, and the Sunshine Coast. It's happening in many other cities and towns across the Pacific Northwest and the rest of the world. Covert harassment can infiltrate any neighborhood and harm a person of any gender, age, or ethnicity. It can destroy families. It can ruin lives. We're not just standing up for ourselves and other victims of organized stalking and violent assaults with microwave weapons. We're also standing up for public safety and everyone's lives. I want to leave you with this final message. Regardless of political affiliation, nobody deserves your vote unless their platform includes a strong stance for public safety. This applies to candidates running for office at national, state, and local levels, including the mayor of Portland, members of Portland City Council, and local sheriffs, especially the sheriffs. Let us all remember that criminals are always among the first in society to adopt new technologies. With the rapid growth of technology in this day and age, we ask you to demand that all candidates for office have a public safety platform that explicitly includes emerging technologies. Directed energy devices and microwave weapons are here to stay, and we need to start dealing with them openly. Criminals are already using these weapons. These weapons need to be openly addressed as an emerging technology of concern by the people we put in office. And so you should demand this for the victims whose lives have been shattered by these weapons. Demand it for yourself. Demand it for your children and friends. And demand it for the prosperity and safety of your community. We all know that fear of criminal prosecution is the only thing that's going to stop the growth of organized stalking and electronic harassment. As long as there is silence around these crimes, the crimes are guaranteed to keep growing. And so we're going to keep making noise until we see equal protection under the law for victims of covert harassment. Enough is enough. We are FFTI, Freedom for Targeted Individuals. We are the Alliance to End Targeting. And we demand justice for the victims of covert harassment. Thank you.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
He was very well spoken.
Well, he's a doctor. Dr. Matz, let me see what his last name is.
Yeah, they were asking to drop the link to this guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. This was a great one. So now I'm going to bring up this little patent sheet of all the patents that they have on all of this weaponry.
These
And
are
then I'm
patents
going-
that are actually like filed with the U.S. Patent Office.
Yes. It's quite disturbing.
You say that like, yes, like
Yes.
you should know this. Like, do you hear the sass in her voice? Man, the things I'm just kidding. I love you. I love you.
I love you too. All right, let's look at this. See if I can expand it.
If you can just like see on the top, you see the plus and minus microscope thingies.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. All right. Let's go over here. It says this one was the filing date of August 31st, 1998. And it's MK is the symptoms, which stand for MK Ultra. It's pulsative manipulation of central nervous system. Then this next one, and it gives you the hertz on frequencies of these US patent numbers. This one says a method and device for producing a desired brain state via magnetic waves. This next one was filed December 15th of 2005 by the Raytheon Company. Weapon with integrated targeting system to locate targets. Damages, disrupts electronics and biological entities and physical structures. That's interesting. This next one was filed December 13th of 1996 from the United States Air Force, and that remotely transmits intelligible subject sounds into the target's consciousness, voice to skull. The next one was filed March 13th of 1962. Now, this was the first one that I see that had a file on it that goes back that far. And that's filed by the Listening Incorporated, allows information to be remotely conveyed to subject via electromagnetic waves. And the next one would have been August 5th of 1974 by Dorn and Morgulin, an apparatus and method for remotely monitoring and altering a target's brain waves and central nervous system. The next one was filed November 26th of 1980, and it doesn't say who was assigned that one, but it says subliminal manipulation of subjects' emotions via remotely directed audio waves. The next one was filed July 24th of 1985. That's remote neurological control via sets of low frequency waves beamed to the brain. This one was December 19th of 1983. Stockland Phillips, whatever that is, whatever the company that is, transmits sounds to auditory cortex of mammals, which is humans, via remotely applied microwave signals. The next one was filed in June 6th of 1988. That one transmits sounds to auditory cortex of mammals, aka humans, via bursts of remotely applied microwaves. This next one was filed January 17th of 1991. James Gall was the original assignee to that one. Alters mood, emotion, sleep states via remotely applied frequency and waveforms. And the list literally goes on and on and on. So all of these patents I've pushed on my Substack, but yeah, that I don't even know what to say.
Person on film in Centerville, Texas. He had a security clearance. Person on film doing what? Check to see if we can link certain patients to certain universities. That would be a great deep dive show. What are we talking about there?
Sassy intelligence. Thank you. Targeting you. Check to see if we can link certain patents to certain universities. That would show okay, but I can do that. And the
All
reason,
right, let's look at this.
okay,
Let's look
so
one up.
Well, the reason that I can do that is I'm going to show you my scan. And I'll show you the frequencies that are used for mine. We'll look at this one.
Yeah, because I think it's where are these patents, like what school is kind of funding the research or whatever for this. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, see if we can connect. That would be very interesting.
Yep. So let me get rid of this one.
Because, yeah, I want to know, like, who's the creators behind these patents. Like, I'd like to know about, like, the people behind it.
Yeah.
And see what their characters like. When you
probably,
read it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm very interested in
probably
the deep dive
evil.
of this. Yeah, probably evil.
Probably
I think
evil.
I think we figured that out, haven't we?
Yeah. Let me see. Where did that go? Where'd my finder go? Here we go. Yeah, it should be on this one. Yeah. Let me see if I can get this one up here. Here, let's just go like that. And then we're going to share my screen. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Cosmic clarity connections.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is my report. It's got FM broadcast, VHF, UHF, and ISM bands. So this is all of the places that I had them. and I have 17 of them. 17. So the first one, the detected frequency, now these are in megahertz. So the first one in the left temporal region is 673 megahertz. So, and this potential operators and usage is advanced ISR radar research, DARPA, and DoD. And the research institution, corporations, or educational entities are MIT Lincoln Lab and Lockheed Martin.
So how are they getting that information? Is it are these frequencies registered or something?
They have to be. They have to be. So I did another Freedom of Information Act request. I sent it off to 3, and I listed all of these frequencies, and I told the Freedom of Information Act's request to provide me with all of these detected frequencies that I found on my scan. I didn't list the research institutions because I want them to tell me for sure that these are the institutions that are using them. The next one was 629 megahertz. Again, the Advanced ISR Radar Research, DARPA, DoD, MIT Lincoln Lab, and Northrop Grumman. The next one is my left lateral arm region, which I can feel twitch. That one is 587 megahertz, and that's secure military telemetry. Why would they need that? And that's a DoD and the Department of Homeland Security. And the institutions are Raytheon and L3 Harris. Like, this is interesting. Base of neck region, 565 megahertz. Secure federal telemetry, DoD, DHS against. This is Honeywell, Aerospace, and Raytheon. Like, this is just sick. So this is why I cried. I cried when I read this. I literally cried. I didn't cry when I was getting my scans done, but I definitely cried when I saw those megahertz frequencies coming off of me, because biologically we are not supposed to have foreign bodies in us that are giving off those frequencies, because it's basically, killing us. The name once filed in the patent lawyers, I wonder if it would be liable. Maybe.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Hello, DJ Chris. Thank you for coming on. The United States government is funding the schools. Yeah. And also there's another country that's not a country. It's called Israel.
Okay. So it says, take the patents and see which one's linked to which university. Take FCC FOIA. You mean, is that a patent to look up? Let's like seriously do some sleuthing here, guys, real quick.
I have some of the FCC. I sent the FCC FOIA request in, but the FCC owns some of these frequencies, and the FCC is the Federal Communications Commission, which should be not in our business. Yeah.
But they're giving us the capabilities to be able to use the telecommunication services, so we're kind of, giving one for the other.
So Mind Nexus did those scans. And so Jesse Beltran, so Jesse Beltran, I interviewed him on my Radical Truth Summit, and he talked about the CARES Act. And the CARES Act is important because Obama signed something that said they have the lawfulness with all of their code laws, their color of law, to experiment on citizens, which is why I went the American State National route, because I'm no longer a British subject, a British experimentation subject, which is why I had to remove myself. They specifically hit my scalp in a circular pattern this morning. Yeah, since 2018. Mine was probably like before 2023, but in really 2023, mine went from covert to overt because it was very obvious what they were doing.
I really don't even know what to like. No, I want to.
Say?
Let's look one of these up. FCC regulates. No, they don't own. I don't think.
Let me see. Let me look at my thing again. Let me find my finder.
Hi, Ben Collins.
Let's see. So my left lateral region, when it gets down into the low frequency readings, those are the ones. My left temporal region was 46 megahertz instead of in the 3-digit. It went down to 2. That one was NIH and DARPA, Medtronic and GE Healthcare. Think about that one. But when I go down to my lateral arm region, it's giving off 44 megahertz, the low band telemetry. That one is used by the FCC and DOD, and it's owned by, the institution, the NGO is Motorola Solutions. And I have a lot of Motorola in me and GE Healthcare. It's like, I don't even know what to say. Sick, twisted, and wrong.
So, what I want to know is like the science behind. So now these things are in you, and what is it? What is it giving us back? Am I on Twitter? I am on Twitter, but I don't even get on social much anymore, Ben. To be honest with you, like I own a marketing agency and I don't do my own social media. Isn't that awful? I put all my focus on the other people I help. Gets me into trouble sometimes. So
Ben,
what happens on the other end, right? So it's in you now. Like, what is the purpose of these different things that were put inside of you? Like, is somebody sitting behind a remote control somewhere saying, make her do this? Or like, does anybody know the answer of what's happening on the other side? And like, do they know it's you that they're doing it to? Like,
so when I interviewed Amy Holm on my Radical Truth Summit, her interview was about 2.5 hours. And she says there are people with remote controls sitting in a circle like circle jerks and messing with people. It's disturbing.
Really? Just like somebody sitting there behind a computer messing with people?
Yeah.
Do you think those people know who they're messing with, or do you think that they're just being told to?
No, I think that they probably know, and they probably pay money to do it. I guess, I don't know. I don't think like
pay money to play with people like that. Like,
well, I wouldn't, sign up for the program, and most TIs wouldn't. That's why they were targeted, because they're going to speak the truth and their vibration is higher. So my next thing is, how am I going to get this shit out of me?
It's 4:44. Make a wish. I don't know the answer to that. Like, I'm kind of mind blown right now. To actually see those like patents, and like, shouldn't they have to like give reasons why they're making this thing and like stick to it? Shouldn't there be laws on like what we're actually building and how it can impact the world?
Yeah, it is a game for them. And Mark is right. They're disgustingly perverted, terrible people. Yeah. Child molesters. Yes. The hostile. I did see that one, Ace of Cups. People with money pay to hunt and torture people. Yes.
Maybe I just don't get evil. Maybe my brain just will not allow me to accept that there's the possibility of that type of, I don't know. I'm just having a hard time. It's like, what are these people getting from it?
Joy.
Like, all of us, all of you guys on this chat, like, what it, I can understand if you're trying to control like an operative that's trying to steal your state secrets or something, but like normal everyday people, Like,
Well,
what?
well,
Why?
all of us are probably on the terrorist screening database, you know. So when you think about it that way, um, the reason that were put on that list is because we started speaking out against something. Mine happened when I did the Twitter post against Bill Gates, the WHO, and the WEF not being able to dictate my health rights because I didn't want to take the jab. And then they're like, oh, we read her in AI. She's going to be one of those that refuses to comply. And you're right, I am. And I'm not
But
going to
you weren't
comply
the
with the
only
digital ID.
one. Like, you
No, I
weren't the
wasn't.
only
And
one.
that's why all these people are targeted.
Did all of you refuse to take the jab?
I have heard that they make 20 million an hour off of one frequency. I have heard that
Doing
somewhere.
what?
I heard that on Substack.
Like, what?
Because,
What are they making money off of?
well, the whole goal is to try to get people to comply. And the whole goal is world control, you know, like the one world government agenda being pushed on us by the Zionists, which I will never bend a knee. I will not ever bend a knee. I will stand dying. I will. That's just it. Where's the list?
I'm so like, I'm trying, but like, I just don't understand like the thought
There's
process of a
there's the
human
two words,
being.
satanic and demonic. They don't have souls. They're atheist. Most Zionists are atheists. They don't believe in a higher power. They don't believe in Heavenly Father or Heavenly Mother or archangels that help to build Tartaria, you know, before these evil people got control of some technology and erased a bunch of things. And then we inherited some stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't,
I don't. I'm very rarely like silenced. By the way, y'all, just so you know, like I.
It's a
don't
lot to
know
take
what to
in.
say. I just don't understand, like,
I
how
know.
a human brain can even say yes. I'm gonna do that. I'm like, whether they're doing it for somebody else or they're doing it for themselves. Like, I just don't understand how a human mind who's actually pushing the buttons to make all of this stuff happen, like how that is possible.
Yeah, it's because you're not like them, which is why all of us had to struggle going through the basically MK Ultra mind controlled behavioral modification program, whatever you want to call it. Because they're not human. I agree with you. They are not human. Because no human would do this to another human.
I'm just like mind blown. Like,
Yeah.
so why aren't there? I don't have one. Ace of Cups. I met Kimberly. She was just finished her book and was wanting to do some marketing behind her book, Unveiling Shadows of Coercive Control. And so we met, and the first time we met at a restaurant, she had always picked the best places to go. God, I miss the places you pick. We met at a restaurant, and like the conversation was, I knew in an instant that her energy was like intended to be part of my soul. I mean, like, I knew in an instant that Kimberly and I were meant to be connected, but I was confused as fuck. And I was like, okay, is this woman crazy? Like, I've worked in mental health for a very long time. So like, I see a lot of this. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And so my experience has literally been through watching her day-to-day experience and putting my head in the dirt and pretending like I live in a pixie fairy world where nobody can touch me. Honest to God. Like, this is just my way of supporting my BFF, because I don't necessarily have to agree with her or understand her to believe her.
Yeah, but I mean, the scans kind of prove it. Once I get my FOIA requests back, that'll prove it even further. And then I need to have someone extract some of these devices and put them into a chain of custody so that I can go after some of these people. And because we need restitution.
Yeah. I mean, if this is now, I mean, and I apologize because like there is a moment in my head that goes, well, how do we know that this company who took the scans didn't just create a report to, you know, fill your head
Yeah,
with the fact that, you know, they have this service, right? Like, how do we know that that's even, you know, accurate or truthful?
yeah. I like this one. Now question
Yep.
if the people were crazy or being tortured. And
Yeah, we
that's
actually talked
why
about that
that's
before.
why
Kind
the
of.
guy was saying that all of these heinous news things about the shooters, that they were hearing voices. And this is the cause of all of that.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yeah, she is a freaking warrior. She's a freaking rock star. Honest to God. Bravest, strongest woman I have ever met in my
Thank
entire
you,
life.
Michelle.
Without
Eh,
question. I have
let's see what
seen
this.
her go through hell and
Yeah.
back.
And he was
Um,
very rude and nasty, not returning back there. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
see, and I think that that's what also why Kimberly and I were brought together to do this is because like we don't all have to understand it in order to treat people who believe it with respect and dignity, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what we're trying to do is like bring this more to light for the everybody. Um, at least so that we can be like, hey, I get that, you know, I see where you're coming from. Otherwise, they all do get classified as crazy or, you know, or dismissed, right? So it's like
Yeah.
bringing awareness to that. We did have a whole episode on whether or not psychosis and schizophrenic breaks and things like bipolar disorders, if it's possible that those are related to.
Directed. Yeah. To directed energy and
And
all of those patterns.
didn't the mental health cases like triple like shortly after recordings of some of these devices, or if I remember correctly, like the numbers were
Yeah.
showing us that the, you know, number of influenced people or mentally ill people increased dramatically.
Yeah.
Dr. Kirk Moore, who is
So he
that?
so he's the doctor in Salt Lake, Shitty, that decided that he didn't want to give the COVID bioweapon jab to his clientele, and was thrown in jail because they tried to go after him for giving them saline or not giving them the jab at all because he wouldn't comply. And so that's when people don't comply, what happens to them. But he was released. I think Marjorie Green had something to do with that. I'm not exactly sure.
Didn't I see a lot of patients that claim to be under attack by invisible forces? Yes. Actually, I worked in a residential treatment center for like 2 years with 5 well, I worked in multiple houses, but one was with 5 schizoaffective males. And that was a common theme. This was why I was curious is like, could this, you know, what would there possibly be a correlation to things that
Yeah,
happen in the world and the mental health of those kind of
yeah.
in the impact zone? I
Which,
don't know, is that the right word?
well, psychology was created by Sigmund Freud and his nephew, and Sigmund Freud molested like the majority of his children, and I think two or three of them, one offed himself, and then two of them, I think, died of starvation, like disgusting stuff. Yeah. So sort of like the Rockefellers, which the, mental institutions are now Rockefeller foundations, but Sigmund Freud created a bunch of that stuff. And then these other psychopaths carried on all of their stuff. So they're not even intelligent enough or educated enough in all of these patents and technology that they don't know how to deal with patients. They just put them on antidepressant drugs, which that doesn't help anything. Then they're just feeding big pharma, which big pharma is evil in and of itself. You know? Yeah.
I mean, girl, when you are on fire, you are on fire. Just you're the cutest freaking thing in the whole wide world.
Thank you, Ace of
I can
Cups.
watch you talk forever and ever and ever when you are like passionate. It is so cute. There's
Yeah,
been
hit the
times,
like
guys,
button.
that I've had to tell her, I'm like, Kimberly, no, we are taking 1 hour and we will not discuss
Tell-
any of this for the next hour, like when I spend the night with her or something.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we're going to talk about pixies and fairy dust. I don't really mean pixies and fairy dust. Well, sometimes I do.
Well, yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I have to shut
It's
her
fun.
off. And it's very hard.
Yeah.
But it's amazing though.
Yeah. It's
all these things
crazy.
that we think are natural, natural things that are happening to humanity, and we could like somehow connect it back to some sort of crazy device or patent that was created by nutso scientists.
Yeah. And not for the betterment of humanity, for the control of humanity, because that's legitimately what it's about. And I won't be controlled. I just won't.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, if you could become state nationals, Kimberly can help you with that.
Yeah.
You
Going
almost
to
book a
528
consultation
Global.
with her.
Yeah. Yes.
Aren't you helping people now? Like, aren't you offering, like, you're helping
I-
people now kind of
they
go
can
through
d-
all the steps?
Yeah, but they can just do it for free on 528global.com.
Yeah,
And
not everybody is freaking brilliant and can figure anything out that is put in front of her, as you are, darling. So, there might be some people out there who could probably use you to be like, no, do this, and now do this, and now do this. So,
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, so the TASA, the American State Assembly website, has a good amount of information on it as well. So I would suggest signing up for that, signing up for your 528 Global account, and changing your status that way, because they'll do it for free other than the recording fee, which was $75 with the Texas State Coordinator here, because I ended up filing it in like 3 different places, and they urge you to record it in as many places as you can. Talking of doctors, I sent emails to doctor in the UK asking that I need a letter to get to the police to investigate, and was turned down 3 times over the years. That's because they're part of it. They're part of the indoctrinated Rockefeller system. And at least you got your money back. Yeah, it's exactly right. Control and fear. Once you wrap your head around it, then you start, knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
I love you, Erica.
Yeah, I love you too. I know you do this because you love me, but then it just fills my head with yuck, and then I get in a blech mood. But that's okay, because I will be fine. I just don't want this to be humanity, and it's really
No, we
hard
don't.
for me to.
Yeah. We don't want it to be humanity. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm fighting it.
I know, my
And
gosh. And that's why I'm here with you, listening
are.
to all of this crap.
I know.
With
it
love and
is
light,
crap.
and know that everybody here, if she's got your back, I got your back. So, all right, kid, what are we talking about next week? Do we know?
So, I don't know. Have you heard of Tartaria and the old world that we inherited after they made the soil liquefied to bury the buildings, so when you walk past buildings, you look like half the windows buried in the basement, but they really did. It's what were called the mud floods, and they've reset us several times. It's like, I'm kind of obsessed with Tartaria.
Oh my God. Yes. This sounds like a
Okay.
sci-fi movie. Like, Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Should I wait and be surprised, or should I do some pre-research?
I think you should do some pre-research. There's one,
Okay.
a couple of people I follow about the Tartarian Empire on my YouTube channel. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Is that what you said?
yeah, because they lied about everything. Like we used to have these amazing airships, which were called Zephyrs, that had like ballrooms and dining halls, and yeah, we used to travel in fashion back in the day. I think I was alive back then, by the way, because I think they offed me with this direct energy warfare, which is why in my book, the Nurse Ratchet Lady and all those people were across the way. Yeah, looking at me to see if I'd get up. And then it brought back some of my memories of past lives. And I remember it being totally different with the free energy and the star forts, and all these greedy men got a hold of some technology and they did a reset so they could earn money off of water, which should be free, energy,
Okay, my
which is
brain is
free.
spinning. My brain is spinning. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think I'm gonna have to do some pre-research
yes.
on this one.
And
Oh.
giants that are mummified. Oh, hearts to you, Mark, everybody.
All right, my love, I gotta jump on another call. So we're looking it up. We're gonna do Tartaria next week.
Yeah. Trina.
All right. I'm
Yay.
kind of excited about this. Yay.
Stay
Love you all.
strong. We got
Stay
this.
strong.
Love you.